how do we inspire people?
Yeah, well, we're I'd say in the dog days of training camp here, just grinding through it day by day. This is really what our team needs to build its consistency and mental physical toughness. Just a lot of practice repetitions and starting to put things together situationally. But it's I think we're at that stage where we have we spent a lot of time on a lot of the basic things. The majority of our schemes are in, and now it's really about developing the consistency that we need, and that can only be done through a lot of practice repetitions and just seeing different things and executing plays at a high speed or close to high speed tempo, so we can carry that over into the game ultimately. So we'll just gonna have to string a lot of these days together here in the next week and a half, and just one day at a time. But that's where we're at, and we'll get a good chance going forward here to evaluate where everybody's at and how they're doing relative to the competition at their position or the competition on the other side of the ball and the players that they're competing against. So as always, it'll be interesting to see how all that turns out and what type of roles players will establish for themselves based on their performance.
We're going to start with Phil Perry, followed by Joe Ciotta. Go ahead, Phil.
Hey, Bill, I wanted to ask you about your outside linebacker position and how you've seen some players in that group maybe developing over the early portion of camp here. It seems like you have some young guys there. But Derek Rivers in particular was somebody I wanted to ask you about because this is fourth year, I guess, in the league, but I know he's had to deal with a lot of injury. And so how impressed maybe have you been by him being able to get back out there this year and be participating?
Yeah, well, it's great to have Riv out there. He's had a very very good camp, and has playing with a lot of confidence. He's gained a lot of strength and explosiveness, as well as rehabbing the injury, as you mentioned, Phil. But his overall body composition, strength, power is good. It's a very competitive position. We've got a number of different a number of players there that all I think bring a lot to the table. To Sean and Riv, Shalik. Brandon Copeland's been a good addition for us. We don't know him or we're getting to know him, but he certainly has a good skill set and plays in the kicking game. Of course, Chase and John. Those guys have played for us last year. John for a couple of years. John's really a good football player. He's a very dependable and consistent player. Has really emerged as one of the leaders on our defense. So, we've seen a lot of good competition at that position, and it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. But Derek's done a good job, and he's well ahead of where he's been in the past. Each day it seems like he gets a little more consistent, a little more confident, and I think he should be able to help us.
Great, thank you. Next question, Joe Ciotta, followed by Mark Daniels.
Good morning, Bill. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Joe.
The question I had is just about the progression of Cam Newton and his development, especially over the last 8 days of camp, and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I think we're kind of getting at the point now with all the quarterbacks where there's not a lot of new installation going in. It's really a repetition of the things that they've been doing, and now's really the time to evaluate how well they perform. They know what to do. They've seen different looks. They've worked with the different receivers, tight ends, running backs, even the offensive line relative to cadences and things like that. So I think everybody has a lot better feel than they did obviously a week and a half ago. So I think we're all getting to that point now where at all the positions the players know what to do, they know how to do it, they know who they're working with, they know their teammates, and we'll see how the competition unfolds at every position. But specifically for Cam. He's worked very hard, picked things up well. Of course, Stid and Brian have a little more experience in the system. Cam obviously has more playing experience, so we'll see how all that plays out. But I think we're ready to, I would say, move forward from an execution standpoint. As I said, schematically, we're far enough along here where we have plenty of football in to play a game and to play in everything but maybe a couple of the last play of the game type situations. But other than that, we have a lot to play with, and we'll just have to see how well we can perform against the competitive situation on the other side of the ball with our defense, and vice versa.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question, Mark Daniels, followed by Andrew Callahan.
Hey, Bill. Hope all is well.
That's good, Mark.
On Cam Newton, one word we keep hearing about him is energy, and I think we all see that in the bleachers, whether it be when music comes on or someone makes a play of different handshakes and chest bumps. And you said, you're in the dog days of summer right now. How valuable is that energy coming from a veteran when it's obviously hot and you guys are working really hard?
Well, I think that's Cam's personality. I think you see that in the morning. Going into the squad meeting, or you see it on the practice field, or in the dining room, whatever it happens to be. So that's kind of the way he is. And look, all the players on the team, we're all different. We all have different personalities, and that's what makes up a team is that diversity of people. And we have some guys with a lot of experience, some with no experience. And plenty in between. So it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. Each team forms its own chemistry, and certainly Cam is an important part of that. But so are all the other guys, the other 79 players on the team, and the coaches as well. So we'll see how all that manifests itself here over the next few weeks and ultimately months.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Andrew Callahan, followed by Evan Lazar.
Hey, good morning, Bill.
Andrew?
I know you've spoken in the past about Coach Fitch introducing some new ideas, and he's acclimated quickly to the staff. Last week, Josh talked about that being a benefit, specifically dealing with a mobile quarterback. So I'm curious, from when Jed came on in January, or any coach comes in and is starting to introduce new ideas, what is the process of taking those from when they're first scribbled up on the whiteboard and either you say okay or Josh does to now they're being installed on the field and applying whatever new techniques need to kind of found those ideas for them to kind of come to fruition in a fully formed play or package?
Yeah, well, I think anytime you bring a new person in, the first thing in our situation that they need to do is understand what we do and understand what our foundation is, and how it would depend on what the position is, but in Jed's case, understand how the offense works, what everything means, why things are the way they are, and then once a person gets an understanding of that, then that's a good time if they have a suggestion or have a way that they think we can modify things to make it more efficient, or how we would call or coach or structure something maybe that we're not doing, or make it a little different than what we have currently, then that's the time to do it. I mean, really, for somebody to come in and not know anything about our system, our terminology, and the structure of what we're doing, and start drawing stuff up on the board, just we'd have to waste a lot of time doing all the things that I just talked about for it really to be a very meaningful conversation. So, in the initial stages, there may be some philosophical type discussions and all that. But once everything is set to go, then it really is up to all of us to, be on the same page, to teach new coaches what we do and how we do it, for them to understand it, and then, for us to work together if there's a new idea or a new way that we want to modify something. And we have a lot of those ideas ourselves. I mean, at the end of every year, the coaches always have some things that, we feel like going into next year we want to work on or emphasize or change, whatever it happens to be. And Sometimes that's the start of those conversations, and sometimes the ideas come from somebody with a different background that has maybe something that we haven't considered or aren't as familiar with, and they can add some insight to it. So it's no real set formula. It would all depend on, all those factors that I just talked about, and certainly what the subject matter was, as well. So, it could be anything from a technique to a practice structure or a meeting structure. We evaluate all those every year and try to refine them and make them efficient. So there's a time and a place to discuss all those things, and that's that's basically the way we try to put it together.
Next question, Evan Lazar, followed by Ben Volen.
Hey, Bill. When you guys drafted Byron Cowart, you talked a lot about how he was used a lot in the pass rush, but we've seen him used a decent amount in run defense. I just wanted to know your impressions of how he's developed as a run defender in the last in training camp now, I guess.
Wait a minute, we drafted him. I said he was used a lot in the pass rush at Maryland?
Byron Cowart, yeah.
I mean, they play a lot of base defense at Maryland. I wouldn't say that they had, a ton of passing situations there. I think, he's been primarily a run player, throughout his career when he was at Auburn and also when he was at Maryland. I'm not saying he can't rush the passer, but that's, I'd say the pass rush is an area that he's worked hard to develop and improve on because he hasn't had as much experience or exposure with it. But he's a very strong and physical player, and I think he's one of the most explosive players we've had or do have. But really for him, it's a lot about experience and technique, and he certainly made a ton of growth in the last 12 months here from where he was last year in training camp, and I think that's going to hopefully continue to ascend. I think his pass rush techniques have gotten much better. DeMarcus, has really worked hard with him, and Joe Kim both worked very hard with him on, developing things that will work for him, not necessarily what, another player does or doesn't do, but really trying to utilize his strengths and his skill set. So, I don't know, I'd say either I misanswered the question, didn't understand the question, or maybe you misinterpreted the answer, but I think this is a player that has more of a run background than a pass rushing background, and I'd say his development in both areas has been significant, but he's probably made more growth in the pass rush area just because he didn't do it, as much. He played a lot of four technique at Maryland. Which isn't, the most advantageous position to rush from. But he played it well. I'm not saying that. I'd say things are a little bit, I'd say we have a little more variety and balance here than what he had in college or even going back to Auburn.
Two final questions, Ben Volen and Mike Reese.
Good morning, Bill.
Hey, Ben.
You guys signed Nick Folk on Monday, and then obviously already have Justin Rohrwasser here. So what went into the decision to bring Nick back, and where do you view the state of the kicking position right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think both players are good kickers. We'll see how it goes. That'll be up to them to decide. But we've talked to Nick throughout the course of the spring and even training camp, and things worked out here last week, and so it's great to have him. He certainly came in and did a good job for us last year, but there were things just didn't work out until recently with Nick, and so I'm glad they did. I'm glad he's here, and we'll see how it turns out. I don't know. Those two guys will both get as much opportunity as we can give them, and we'll evaluate them and go from there. But we've been talking to Nick since back in March. So I mean, this isn't something that just came up a couple days ago. It's been an ongoing conversation for several months actually.
And last question, Mike Reese.
All right. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good.
Sort of miss being in the room there with you. Are you missing us at all?
Yeah, it was really quite a change with the team from doing WebEx call after WebEx call after WebEx call, and then to actually see everybody together and have that interpersonal relationship was was good, and I think it kind of makes you appreciate them when you haven't had them for a while. So yeah, look forward to seeing you guys at a little closer range here sometime in the future.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the kicker, but Ben asked it, so we'll get you off on your way to practice.
Yeah, great minds think alike. There you go.
Thank you,
Great
Coach.
practice.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!
Ready or not.
Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
For over 60 years, this team has transformed itself into a championship organization. For over 160 years, our team has demonstrated a similar mentality. There are no days off. Our front lines are fortified by people who sacrifice individuality for the team. Our shelves are also stocked with the best quality products and ingredients. Our team members know their roles. We're proud to do our jobs. Shaw's, the official supermarket of the 6-time champion New England Patriots.
My Caleb sofa and love seat. With Bob's discount, you get both pieces for just $7.99.
$7.99? Are you joking?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Yes, you look like you're joking.
I'm serious.
Cool.
Get Bob's discount! How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!